As I was saying, my name is Ivan Ochoa. I am from the city of Chicago, the Windy City. So I just drove in this morning. I don't know about you guys. Kind of tired, but excited. My school is 98% Latino, and so we dwell a lot with English language learners.
Hi, my name is Mendez, also from Chicago. My school isn't quite as large population of dual language speakers, but it's also a topic. I also teach in Chicago. I teach at the high school level though. We're collaborating with Mr. Ochoa to help you guys get some information on Cognates.
Before we continue, how many of us are classroom teachers? So I can get a feeling. And of those elementary teachers, all right, high school, all right, great. Administrators, all right, perfect. The objective here is for you guys to take this information, and it can be used from kindergarten, from pre-K all the way to 12th grade, and as administrators, we can put this down the pipeline with our teachers.
I want to give our objective for today. Many of you might be familiar with that little acronym. We usually have students will be able to, but we're hoping at the end of today, teachers will be able to use Cognates in their classrooms to help their bilingual students connect more deeply with science and math. As of 2007, from this published, 10% of the school-age population was English language learners. 79% of those were Spanish speakers natively. That's why we focus on Spanish speaking today. That's why, as we spoke earlier with this young lady, we will, the system that we're using is really transferable to any language. It's just the research that you're gonna have to do to implement it. Basically, a word that has either the same meaning or similar meanings and sounds the same in two different languages. Obviously, for the English and the Romance languages, there's a lot of crossover because of the Latin and Greek bases. It's also useful in German for English and various other languages. Again, we focus our research on Spanish.
That cognate words are easily transferable, like Mr. Mendez just mentioned. And we all know by sheer nature a lot of them already. Most notably the word no. In how many languages can you say the negation no by using that exact same word, right? And so our objective here is to help your students. So there's over 20,000 cognate words that are considered academic vocabulary words. So using these, there's three types of cognate words. The first one is identical, also called true cognates. And these are the orthographic similarities. They are phonologically similar. The variation would be here is the accent in the language or the syntax in the language, and the semantics are straight across. So we have an example of the word tropical in Spanish, which is an identical cognate, tropical. See, the difference is in the accent that we're using basically, but the definition is exactly the same. Partial cognates, in which the orthographic difference is very slight, and they follow certain rules, which we will go over in a minute. These rules, they are transferable back and forth. So from English to Spanish, or Spanish to English in this case, that we will see. We have, for example, the word college. College in Spanish would be colegio. And so the caveat here being the partiality is not just in the orthographic section, but also in the semantic. The Spanish word colegio can be referred to as a school in general, whereas the actual translation would be university. But it also works as a school. Both are places of learning. The third kind are false cognates. These are cognates that don't really translate from one language to the next precisely in a semantic way that we want it to. For example, we have the word lunar, which in English would be of the moon, right? Like lunar landing. However, if we translate it to Spanish, it would be lunar. That's also a birthmark. You see the misconnect, the misfire here is that these are false cognates.
So now we have a little exercise for you guys. We want to have you guys play along. We hate regular presentations. Just sit and listen to people that think they're smarter than us. So we're going to get you guys active and working so that you can get a hands-on feel of how students might. So you guys are probably familiar with this word bank system of filling in the blanks and having a student have both paragraphs, both passages, in both languages so that they can make that connection of where each word might go in context will help them build that relationship with the new language so that they can connect it to their native language and understand how to use it properly. So we'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and try to fill in as many as you can.
All right, just by a show of hands, who started out with the English version first, right? And, all right, thank you, put them down. And then from working with the English version, it was a lot easier to work on the Spanish one, right?
Let's take 1 minute and just pair share with the person next to you to see if you can spot any partial or false cognates that are in there.
I think they're all one civil. Sure.
Radiate. Yeah. So I thought the sun radiates brilliantly.
But I'm saying, how do I know it's a false cognate if I don't know what the meaning of it in Spanish is? Like the lunar example, how would I ever know that lunar means birthmark? If I would assume it was this. It would be a identical.
I think that's where that's where the.
Well, I wouldn't be translating anything. That would be right.
I was talking with the lady back there about Google Translate and how sometimes it does a horrible job.
Oh no, it never translates completely.
No, but a good dictionary might help. And obviously they're online. There's actually the links we have.
We're still, which are so different. There are. So I've been like trying to do so I know a fair amount.
It's difficult to really and sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit in order to make that connection.
My question is more about precision of the science in the syntax, not the grammar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, my science brain is just engaged. What does this really mean? Is that
Right.
I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be what we'd say officially, but it does. I mean, I see that the sun heats it up, it evaporates, it cools down, then it starts back again.
This one? That would be the Libra.
Yes. Yeah, that would just be the identical, I think.
yeah, this was partial.
If I can get everybody's attention, we had somebody point out something really
Now, can they translate that more?
great that they noticed about the grammatics and the science and the way it's written. And I was saying, sometimes we have to kind of weigh the best of two evils. We want these children to catch up language-wise for their long-term success. So we're willing to sacrifice a little bit on grammatics and exact science language because the bigger picture is to teach them the meaning of these words and show them how the words in their language are directly connected sometimes to the words of the new language they're learning. So yes, sometimes we will have to sacrifice the science. Thank you for pointing that out. It's something that just has to happen for the greater good. But that comes in with your job, obviously, as the teachers or curriculum writers, to make sure that you're doing all the research possible so that you don't put any false cognates in there and a kid grows up thinking that a birthmark has something to do with the moon.
Right, and earlier today, when we started talking about the partial cognates, we mentioned some rules. We established 5 rules that are very common and a big percentage of the cognate words that are academic language that goes with the science content falls mostly within these 5 rules. The first rule is any word that ends with T-I-O-N. For example, condensation, right, which is one of the ones that we saw in the worksheet. Condensation. Basically the rule is that the root word stays the same, but the ending would be in C-I-O-N. Condensación. Notice how the root remains the same, but the ending, which is just the change of one letter. And in Spanish, all words that end in O-N maintain an accent. Other words along this line is observation, observación, investigation, investigación, and we've identified most of these for you. They are on the website for this presentation, so you can have access to them. You don't have to write them all down. Consonant and the letter T. And those end up being AR, IR, or ER. Sorry about that. That was our mistake. Ferment becomes fermentar. The next rule is those that end in ism. There's a lot of these isms. This one is easy because all you're doing is adding the O at the end. Organism becomes organismo. All you're doing is adding the O. Magnetism, magnetismo. The fourth rule that we identified for you is those words that end in ic. Again, all you're doing is adding the O at the end, like basic becomes básico, metallic, metálico, abiotic, abiotico.
We came up with a way to implement this that will be a lot of fun for you guys, hopefully, and definitely for the kids. So if you want to go ahead and open up your baggies, and it's real simple. You guys will all play these. Take your cards, shuffle them up, line them up in an even number of rows and columns. I gave you guys 2 so that it would go quicker, so we can split up the table 3 and 3. And the idea is to get them engaged with the 2 different languages at the same time while doing something that's really fun.
Penguin.
No, you need to say it.
Peguino.
No, she needs to say this. How do you say it?
Tortuga.
Tuga.
Also, is that word a?
You got it?
Turtle.
Turtle.
And that's
Turtle. Rose. No, ma'am. Rose. Oh, rose. Rose. I saw that one.
As you're playing, also keep in mind that most of these are partial cognates, but there's also true cognates in here. Again, no false cognates. And notice that the difference, the main difference is just the semantics stays the same.
High school teachers, you probably know that sometimes we think of these games and things as being too young for them. But as a group full of professionals just demonstrated, you guys are having fun and bought into it. So your high schoolers will also.
Notice that we didn't start by front-loading the vocabulary, although you could do that. Front-loading the vocabulary is also a great strategy for your English learners. But you have to keep in mind that these students, they don't know that koala is the same thing as a koala in English, right? So you need to teach that to them. You need to start by saying these are words that are they're the same. They're pronounced almost the same. They're spelled almost the same, and they mean the same. They don't know this, and the research shows that if you front load this type of vocabulary and you tell them ahead of hand which are cognates and which are not, there's going to be more success in them holding on to the meaning. You got a question?
I also think what a great way to also build confidence, and that you might not say it right, and we're in a group and it's okay, somebody else pronounces it, and it's that taking that risk in your classroom, because a lot of times my kids would be, until they learn that conversational English, they would be afraid to speak.
Right, Bugatti would be so happy.
And so you do this, and me as someone that doesn't speak, and I destroy their language, then they'll feel more comfortable with feeling like, okay, she's not going to judge me if I don't pronounce
Exactly.
English.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. And before I forget, also, I wanted to mention that just like we did, if you notice, these are all life science words geared more towards the younger kids. We can use this for physical science. We can use them for earth and space science. So these are easily transferable. All you have to do is do the legwork, which most of it we've already done for you. In the NSTA website for this session, there's also a link to a list of the most commonly cognate words in English and Spanish.
So I hope we achieved our objective and you guys can walk away.
Good job. That's great.